Greetings again.
And salutations.
I'm Lonnie.
I'm Mark.
And we are Untitled Network. This is Comic Book
Malarkey.
And we're going to kind of do a different flavor of Comic Book Malarkey. Now, we're not going to talk about any specific comic books or anything, but I'm going to, I'm a glutton for punishment on this one. I'm bringing this up. And we are going to talk about X-Men comics versus the films.
Well,
I want to really focus on X-Men, X2, The Last Stand. Oh, wait. Was that?
No, X2 was just X2.
X-Men United.
And then X3 was The Last Stand.
Yeah, X3 was The Last Stand. And then First Class, Apocalypse, Days of Future Past. And then we may, if we have time, gloss over, Wolverine, Origins, or the Wolverine, and I haven't seen Logan yet.
They're going to I was reading something the other day. They're going to release a black and white version of that.
With that,
I think it would be cool. I mean, I've seen Logan. I have. Well, we'll get into it. So
hey, watch it and turn the color off on your TV.
Yeah. Well, they're apparently releasing a special edition of it in black and white.
Of course they are.
But too much Johnny Cash influence, I guess.
Yeah. That's what I was telling you earlier. I was extremely happy with what they did with the Dark Phoenix saga in X-Men 3 because it was almost a shot-for-shot remake of the comic book.
With the exception of them not being on the moon, or the Kree not being there, or the Shire not being there.
I mean, it was almost shot-for-shot remake, but they missed a couple of little tiny...
Small details. Small details.
And
wait a minute. Yeah, no, Wolverine did kill her in that. I could have swore it was Cyclops, but Wolverine... Yeah.
No, Wolverine killed her in the movie.
Right.
She killed herself in the comic.
Yeah, but Cyclops shot her at one point in time in the comic too. Yeah. The X-Men spend way too much time on the moon in the comics, by the way. But okay.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, my entire conversation about this is I have yet to see an X-Men movie. There have been several Wolverine co-starring some people who kind of sort of resemble the X-Men movies.
Okay.
But there's not been an X-Men movie because every single one of these movies has been based around Hugh Jackman, which, don't get me wrong, Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine, I think, is probably
Hugh Jackman did a lot for comic book movies.
Right. So, he's probably the best Wolverine we will ever get, and the fact that I hope to God he lives up to his promise that he said that if Marvel can get the rights back to X-Men, he would play Wolverine again.
Now here is my main gripe. Can we see where this is going? Is anybody that knows me knows where this is going?
You should have wore your shirt.
When I should have. When I first heard X-Men was coming out, 90% of the people who were excited about the X-Men movie before the movie came out. Now think about it. This is before the Avengers. This is before Iron Man became a thing. This is before the Marvel Cinematic Universe launched. X-Men was really what started it. The major things, because Spider-Man didn't come out in 2001.
I think
X-Men,
Batman was a little bit before it.
Well, yeah, Batman was in '89.
Right.
But the '90s was full of crap films.
yes, it was.
I mean, I'm not going to knock Batman and Robin, but you had a made-for-TV Generation X film. You had a made-for-TV Nick Fury film with David Hasselhoff.
At least that made-for-TV series had Jubilee in it.
It did. I have a bootleg copy on DVD. I watch it 3 or 4 times a year. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to sit down and do a commentary on that.
We could probably do that.
I would love to play that at one of our conventions or something, have it on, and people be like, what the hell is that? It's back in the 90s, Fox did made-for-TV films, and this was White Jubilee.
Yeah.
Because everybody was mad because, she wasn't Asian American. And I'll go ahead and tell you, I was a big Jubilee fan as a kid, but I didn't read a lot about her. I didn't know that she was Chinese American. Because some of the people actually drew her to look white.
Yeah, it depended on, especially when you got into the whole Jim Lee era. That's when you really picked up, because Jim Lee back in X-Men 1, 2, and 3 especially made a point of it. And then also the comics made a point of it too, because when you saw her, basically you saw her parents, I think it was her mother was Chinese, and you could definitively tell when you saw the cartoon.
And it bothered me that when X-Men came out, and I sat down and I watched it. Anybody who was a fan of the X-Men before that movie, most of the people were fans because of either the 90s cartoon or the 90s comics.
I will agree
And
with you.
we were so big on that. Oh man, we're going to get to see Gambit. We're going to get to see Storm.
It would have been cool had they done it with
Yeah.
that cast. Like, had they done the first movie with that cast,
Yeah.
I would have been happy.
We were
a
like,
live-action version of that
we're going to get to
cast.
see Cyclops. We're going to get to see Storm. We're going to get to see Jubilee. We're going to get to see
Beast.
Rogue, Beast, everybody. Okay, then we show up and we have a team that consists of, it's an origin story of Wolverine, how he gets with the X-Men.
Right.
Cyclops, Jean Grey,
Storm and Professor X.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That is it.
There's no.
Now, granted,
no
the
Iceman,
budget wasn't
there's no
through the
Beast,
roof.
There's no. Which, I'm a huge Beast fan, so not having a Beast was a problem.
Beast
for
didn't
me
show up.
until like 3. Did
Well, he had a human looking
right, because it was Kelsey
cameo.
Grammer. Kelsey Grammer played the Beast.
Yeah, in X-Men 3.
Right.
But like it was either X-Men 1 or 2, he was briefly on TV, Dr.
Right.
Henry McCoy.
Right, that's
and
right.
He was
they were
human.
talking to him. Yeah, that's right.
And they never did really do anything with that until X-Men 3. But I was wholly expecting to see Jubilee joining the X-Men and all this, and instead they replace her with Rogue.
Exactly.
And I'm like,
and I agree with you on that. That
Wolverine
story.
never cared about Rogue as like
Exactly.
a sidekick or anything. They never had any comic book
I agree with you.
back and forth or anything. Jubilee is Wolverine's sidekick. I don't care what anybody says. They still had time together up until the point where he died in the comics.
Yep.
I mean, like I was telling you in a previous video. And they said, hey, Jubilee, throw her in the garbage. And we got to see her for maybe 15 seconds between the first 3 movies.
Yep.
And non-speaking roles, just running up a hallway or sitting in a classroom. That's it.
That was it.
And I was like, she was the staple of the 90s X-Men. I don't care if she was insanely popular or not. She was a staple of the X-Men series.
I will agree with you on that. And again, this goes back to what we were talking about in the previous video. The X-Men, the cartoon that came out in the 90s,
Yeah.
the first 3 episodes were based around her. Were based around the Sentinels coming to sign her up for
Yeah.
the Mutant Registration Act. So, the whole series starts at a mall with her. So, she was what brought us into the X-Men's world
Yeah.
in the cartoon.
You followed her into the X-Men.
I completely and totally agree with you 100% on this, because that whole storyline for X-Men 1 would have been 1,000% better if they'd have done it as Jubilee instead of Rogue.
The only thing I'm thinking is Rogue. At this point, Rogue couldn't fly. Rogue didn't have super strength or anything.
And Rogue will never be able to fly in the Fox movies because she'll never interact with the Avengers. Like her ability, her ability to fly and everything came from her draining Carol Danvers.
Now that's true. Now on the other hand, I don't think with the budget. Think about what the effects look like.
Oh yeah.
The biggest effect was Cyclops blasting lasers and Storm
And
hitting
Magneto.
lightning. Magneto a
Moving
little
stuff,
bit. That was
yeah.
mostly stuff, floating around and things like that. It could be easily done by anybody in a.
Actually, I
back
think
room.
most of the budget went into Mystique.
Yes, she was the big one. I forgot about her actually,
Yeah.
and she was a major part of all the stories. But I don't think that they could have afforded Jubilee's pyrotechnics. I think that may have been what did her in.
Possible, but again, the other part is they had to have Rogue in there as the Deus Ex Machina of the story. That she was going to be the catalyst that Magneto used to power the device, and he could have done that with Jubilee. Jubilee couldn't have drained Magneto's power to power the
No, but
device.
holy crap! I mean, that could have been a complete. It doesn't take a lot to tweak that story,
Right. See, and I agree with you. And then again, of course, for me, it's they're showing that they had of Colossus in X-Men 2. Was it 2? Yeah, 2. And X-Men 2 was like really pathetic.
Look, I'll go ahead and say the whole storyline with Magneto trying to turn everybody into mutants. That was the biggest pile of garbage I've ever. Like in hindsight,
Right.
It was pretty cool because that was what we had at the time. But yeah.
Yeah, no. So overall, we're so at least the first 3 movies, not so much fans, right? Would you agree?
Here's the thing. First movie, it was good for what it was.
Right.
Because it was our first comic book movie.
But when you compare it side by side with the cartoon that was on at the same time,
true.
Very.
X-Men 2, that was almost like a big commercial. All they tried to do during that was sell Dr. Pepper and cars.
Pretty much like every Transformer movie.
Yeah.
You know.
And X-Men 2, you got to see Wolverine kill some people, but they really toned it down to maintain the PG-13 rating.
Right.
Because, his whole rampage through the mansion, killing people, they said they cut a lot out of that.
They had to
make it suitable. I liked some of the stuff that was there. I wasn't a real big fan of William Stryker's son, Jason.
Right, which that's a completely different ballpark in the car.
X-Men 3. X-Men 3, they tried to pack in too much into too little time.
The cure for mutants.
I think they really had a complaint from the first two movies. There's not enough mutants. There's not enough mutants. They were like,
they were like, we'll give you all the mutants.
We're going to give you all the mutants. Matter of fact, we're even going to take Juggernaut, who wasn't a mutant, and we're going to make him a mutant just so you have one more mutant.
That was, And the fact that you recognize that Juggernaut's not a mutant.
I do like Vinnie Jones as Juggernaut.
He was an amazing. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. That was probably. And of course, you had Shadowcat. Shadowcat was in that one, so of course I was.
That was actually Ellen Page.
Yep.
And were you happy with that? As big a Shadowcat fan as you are, were you happy with that rendition?
I would have liked a little bit more out of it, but I mean, they showed an effective use of her powers. The fact that she knew how to use her powers offensively and defensively.
She was smart too, because she knew how to outsmart Juggernaut with Leech.
Exactly.
That and the fact she called him a dickhead.
That was. Gotta love Shadowcat.
True to character.
Yep. I don't know if I should answer my phone while I'm on here.
We're not going live, so whoever it is doesn't.
Hey, baby, can I call you back when we finish filming?
There's a spider in my room.
Well, step on it. I am way too far away to come help you with a spider. Just step on it.
I'm scared.
I'll be home in a little while, okay?
Okay.
Alright, love you. Alright, bye-bye.
That's staying in.
No,
that is staying in.
She will kill us. Alright, so anyway, my girlfriend needs me to come and kill a spider. Maybe if it's radioactive, I can get bit and come back with powers next week.
Oh,
who knows?
Good times.
So, but yeah, truth be told, out of the entire run, my favorite one was Days of Future Past. Even though they gave Shadowcat powers that she's not supposed to have in that issue, because in the original Days of Future Past, it was Phoenix that sent Shadowcat back. And no, they're sending Wolverine back. And, okay, I get that. Because you've got to have another movie based around Hugh Jackman.
My favorite X-Men movie is a toss-up, a complete toss-up between Days of Future Past and Apocalypse. I don't know if I can pick. Apocalypse is my favorite villain. I feel like they did him as good a justice as what you can expect with the Bryan Singer universe.
Yeah.
They did him better justice than any villain except for Magneto. Magneto, they did good.
I will give you that, because they did really crappy with the Black King.
Yep.
And
they did crappy with Phoenix.
And
Dark Phoenix.
And I have to agree with you. I don't think Bryan Singer has a good grasp on the product that he's working with.
Yeah.
But for me it was Days of Future Past, and then The Wolverine was probably the second best.
I tried to watch The Wolverine. I really liked the opening part where he saves the dude from the atomic bomb. That was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for nuclear stuff.
And they tie that in later, too.
Otherwise, I made it about 20 minutes into the movie, and I think I actually fell asleep and woke up right towards the end.
You should go back and watch it. It's because between Wolverine Origins, which sucked because they destroyed Deadpool.
I like it for what it. I watched that movie, blocking out every bit of comic book I know.
You have
to,
or else you rage.
It was a good movie on its own, but I don't think it deserves the hate that was given it.
Well, okay, I would have to agree that if I had watched it never knowing anything about comic books, I could probably go, okay, yeah, this was a good movie. But they screwed up Emma Frost. They screwed up Deadpool. There's just a lot of stuff. So I'm a.
I'm gonna say I love Emma Frost
Yeah.
in First Class.
When it comes to comic book to comic book to TV or comic book to movie transition, I am that guy that will nitpick the hell out of it. I am that guy will go, no, that's not their power set, or no, that's not how this happened.
See,
in
the
that original
difference
story.
between you and I is you look at it, it's like, no, that can't be it. Me, I'm like, it was different in the comics, and then I keep watching.
Well, yeah, and I mean there are
It
times
doesn't
where I
bother
can
me
suspend
that
it,
bad.
but I mean like
The only thing I didn't like is they freaking killed Cyclops, and I was not a fan at all. At all. Now this is, oh God, my blood pressure's gonna go up. I didn't like how Dark Phoenix killed Xavier, and then they leave us with that stupid ass plot thread at the very
that they
end,
don't pick up on,
where he's in another body.
and then somehow when he shows up in that other body, he looks just like Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, he shows up at the end of
The Wolverine. Yep.
with Magneto.
Yep.
He's Patrick Stewart again. And oh, hello Logan, we forgot about that.
Well,
after
no,
credits scene.
see, that's the thing though. They went back in time. See, there was a time travel thing in there.
They had, yeah.
No, they had, because the time that they're in Days of Future Past takes place before X-Men 3.
Yes.
So it changed the timeline. They
But-
have
but-
already gone into Bryan Singer
Days
has
of
already
Future
said.
Past was released after the Wolverine.
I know it was, but they've already explained that Days of Future Past changed the timeline of the first 3 movies, and basically First Class and Days of Future Past was a soft reboot of the series.
It was.
So it completely and totally erased. So Jean, considering the fact that the whole origin for Jean changed because it changed in First Class and Days of Future Past and Apocalypse.
Okay.
Okay, because we just got the introduction of Jean in Apocalypse, right?
Yeah. But
That's not the Jean. That's not the Jean that's in
true.
X-Men 3,
But
who is a completely different.
What
it's
I'm
a timeline
saying
thing.
is when Xavier shows up at the end of the Wolverine
Right.
with Magneto, that happens before Days of Future Past was
But they had already
released and
planned
rebooted.
Days of Future Past. Like they knew.
Oh, so you're
Days of-
saying that it happened before the
Right.
movie release, but that is a post Days of Future Past.
the events of Days of Future Past take place in the 80s.
Yeah.
The events of the X-Men movies take place in the 90s, and the
Yes.
events of the Wolverine take place somewhere in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So everything that happened in Days of Future Past, where Wolverine went back to the 80s,
Yeah.
changed the time stream of everything that happened in X-Men 1, 2, and 3, and everything else.
I know. So X-Men 1, 2, and 3, and
Somehow happened
Wolverine,
differently than what we've seen.
and it changed origins.
Yep.
But
Which is why we finally got a good Deadpool movie.
I'm gonna have to like get a dry erase board out, and plot out what I'm trying to say because we're trying to discuss time travel, and I don't think
We
I'm
need a
able,
Doc Emmett Brown.
I don't think I'm able to communicate.
We got a dry erase board right there.
Yeah, it is, but we don't have any markers.
I usually have some, but so we'll work on it. But yeah, basically, I understand what you're saying. Thematically, Wolverine came out in theaters before Days of Future Past.
Yes.
But the events of Days of Future Past, the events in the past of Days of Future Past, where they went back into the past,
Yeah.
take place before Wolverine.
Yeah, but it also took place.
It
before
also
1,
took
2,
place
and
before
3,
X-Men 1,
but
2,
they
and
still
3.
happened.
But they didn't. That's the thing.
True.
Bryan Singer has said that Wolverine going back in time changed that timeline. Which is why Patrick Stewart is still Patrick Stewart.
I just the post-credit scene in the Wolverine where they show that there's actually there are actually videos playing in the background of
Mhm.
Trask Industries and the Sentinels
Right.
and everything, and those Sentinels were back in the 70s.
Yeah, and you see, and
But
that yeah.
what I'm saying is they made this. Let's agree that nothing in that timeline makes any sense
No.
whatsoever.
Nothing in the entire
Let's
Fox
agree on
universe.
that.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
We'll just go with that.
And we'll agree that it's all centered around Wolverine, and nobody cares about anybody but Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because yeah,
Okay. Oh my god. I was actually a big fan of Bishop going back in time to try to stop everything.
Bishop is probably one of my favorite time traveling characters, and the fact
Because,
that,
you know, for a while he was crazy.
Oh yeah, well that was because that was when he was trying to kill Hope.
Yeah.
And yeah, because he thought Hope was going to be the destruction of all mutant kind, and
well, he was never really a solid guy. He always had something off. Like,
well,
you know, time travel really messed him up.
Well, not to mention the fact that death of his sister.
Death of his sister, the fact she came back as a hologram, the fact that he saw his two partners killed. The fact that he actually saw the video of Jean. The fact that Onslaught happened.
His overall hero, his biggest hero in the world, Xavier, turned out to be the big bad.
So this really screwed him up.
It's
all that stuff piled up. Then the fact that he spent a couple of years in space with Deathbird.
Yep. And then he also spent some time in an alternate future that Trevor Fitzroy ruled.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's not all there. And then somehow he got his arm cut off because he's running around with this. No, yeah, he's running around with a cybernetic arm at some point in time.
Wow.
And it's heavily implied that Storm is his grandfather, or is his grandmother.
Your grandmother, yeah, I've heard that.
And apparently he knows the Gambit because, like, in his time, there was a character called the Witness, who was also referred to as LeBeau.
Yeah.
But they never said it was Remy LeBeau. They just said it was LeBeau. But he looks like a really freaking old Gambit.
Yeah, and that he actually attacked Gambit when he first saw him. I think it was like X-Men number 9.
Yeah, because he thought he was, the traitor.
Traitor! Then wasn't it like they ended up becoming friends because he threw an energized pie and hit Rogue in the face, and she was like, "I've been," and they were like, "Just laugh at her," and
just laugh.
They had like a common adversary in Rogue, and it kind of somewhat brought them together. I actually enjoyed that the little scene right after Onslaught. You know, they're setting out for whatever reason they get teamed up together.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, Remy, I probably need to apologize to you." He's like, "I never could have known." And Gambit's like, "What? That it was Xavier?" He's like, "Nobody could have known." He's like, "I just have one of those personalities that
people don't trust."
People don't trust.
But
I think that's actually the second time I've referenced that scene.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
But it was
a lot
of
my 90s references in our.
It was one of my favorite instances, one of my favorite scenes of the Onslaught deal.
Yeah. So back to the movies.
Yeah. Oh God! I mean, where do we begin? Everything was so different. I wasn't. Let's from this point on, let's don't talk about timeline differences.
Okay, fair enough.
Because that crap was screwed
Well, that
up.
ends this segment. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all we got. But yeah, I think the casting was spot on, pretty much. I think that Jean was a little too old.
I will have to agree with you. Because who was it they got? Famke Janssen to play her, and it's really hard for me to see her as anybody but Xenia Onatopp.
Who's that?
She was a Bond villain.
Oh, okay.
So she was.
Well, I remember her from the Taken films.
Yeah, well, that's after but she was a Bond villain, and
I'd never seen her. I'd never watched.
She killed people by having sex with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, she would get on top of them and crush them with her legs.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I had a hard time seeing her as anything but that. But I will agree that I love their casting for Cyclops.
You could have cast anybody with brown hair as Cyclops.
Pretty much, yeah.
But that guy did do a good job of being the uptight.
James Marsden.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then their casting for Storm, I think, was pretty good.
Halle Berry was.
Yeah, I like the casting for Storm. And of course, there's no way you could replace. And again, we said it. Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart are the definitive Logan and Wolverine.
Look, I've got a box of Wizard magazines at home, and I've kind of gotten away from. I'm supposed to be doing all those reviews on them and everything, but there was a casting call. You know how Wizard.
I remember those. Oh God, I love those.
Wizard used to do casting calls as to who they think should play different people,
and everybody always said Patrick Stewart.
Always, he was cast
every single time.
10 years before that movie came out.
Yep. I remember that. And then of course, Anna Paquin is Rogue. Okay, whatever. I could. Who cares?
I didn't know who she was until that.
Well, I mean, she really didn't get big until she did the vampire thing, True Blood. Yeah.
And that made all of my teenage dreams come true.
Yeah. See, there's too much vampires in the world. You want really good stuff? Go read Dresden Files. I'll introduce you to a book series.
Okay.
Let's see here. Magneto casting perfect, and even the old Magneto, like the old Magneto and the young Magneto that they got for Days of Future Past and First Class.
Yeah.
Spot on. You know, and then James McAvee as Xavier, I think, pretty good. You know, and Toad. Of course, you can't miss Ray Park
What do
as
you
Toad.
think about the X-Men Apocalypse reasoning for Xavier being bald?
So again, we go into me being the nitpicker and going, Apocalypse doesn't have this power set. Like they gave him powers in that
Well,
movie
the whole
that
point
he
was
doesn't
he
have.
was going to transfer into Xavier's body.
Right.
Now he does that because he was going to do that in the 12 storyline.
Right, and he does do that, but there were just powers in there like he didn't have.
If you're not mistaken, did you see one of the later X-Men cartoons where he was actually going to transfer his body into Jubilee?
I did not.
Yes.
I will have to check that out.
There was it was like the last season of the X-Men cartoon.
I will have to check that out.
And they ended up on like some kind of trip and I think it was Fabian Cortez was trying to resurrect Apocalypse. And
It's just a bad idea.
yeah, because he was like, and they actually captured Jubilee and was going to put Apocalypse's essence into Jubilee's body, and they ended up stopping it.
That would have been ugly.
That was a really
That would've
good
been ugly.
cartoon.
I mean, I liked Apocalypse for what it was. I do like their explanation for, you know, I mean, it does give a reason why he's bald, but
But
takes
why
away,
was the Patrick Stewart version bald?
well
Because Apocalypse never happened.
in the comic books, his powers are what made him go bald. Like
Yeah.
he started losing his hair when he started developing his powers.
he was a teenager. When
Yeah,
he lost
like
it.
when he was in school, he started losing his hair. So, you know, okay, that's a slight miss that I can go overlook. But I mean, I did like, you know, like I didn't like the four horsemen he recruited. That he could have done better. I mean, yeah, Olivia Wilde looked amazing as Psylocke,
Yeah.
but that's about all she did because she can't act. You know, and you know,
Well, at the same time, you had, you know, I was happy that they got Archangel. That was,
Yeah.
you had to have Archangel.
yes,
But granted, the people who did Famine, Pestilence, and War, they weren't established characters, and you would have had to have established them somewhat.
right. I did like the ancient Egypt scene in that one where, you know, like it was, you know, showed the temple and everything. I liked all that. You know, there was a bunch of it that I liked for Apocalypse. Like I said, I think Apocalypse out of that series is my second favorite.
Yeah.
Days of Future Past being my favorite. And then First Class, I had all kinds of issues with First Class because, like, as huge of a Havoc fanboy as I am, I was like, Havoc can't be there before Cyclops. You can't.
Yeah.
And the way that they had the original one set in the 70s, I was like, they're going to freaking make him his dad, you know? And then come to find out that he's his brother and he's not that much younger than him, you know? But they don't introduce him until Days of Future Past, right? Yeah.
First Class.
No, Cyclops was introduced in.
Oh, yeah.
And Cyclops was introduced in Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Because. So, do you ever watch How It Should Have Ended or things like that?
Yeah.
They did this one where it showed how Age of Apocalypse should have ended, and it shows Quicksilver running in and saving all the kids out of the mansion as it's blowing up, and he sits and he looks at his watch, and he runs over to Avengers Age of Ultron and saves the other Quicksilver and goes, bet you didn't see that coming, and runs off.
Wow.
Because, yeah, that's like goes back to the old joke. Captain America's shield is made out of adamantium, and Hawkeye's shield is made out of Quicksilver.
Yes. I did. I think we actually posted something about that on the nerd page the other day. But yeah, I think we pretty well covered that all in a nutshell. That's, I mean, honestly, we could sit here and
We
make
could talk
like
for hours.
We could make a 10-part, hour a piece thing, you know, series
On each movie
the
individually.
differences. Yeah. So all right, we're going to spend an hour talking about X-Men. All right, now an hour about X2, X-Men 3, Wolverine. Honestly, in the Fox universe, Deadpool's the only thing that was done right.
Oh God, Deadpool was amazing. Deadpool was absolutely amazing.
They did Deadpool as reasoning. Like that was the whole thing was, you know, they've screwed up all the other stuff, let's do Deadpool right.
Well, and I think part of that was that Ryan Reynolds had a really heavy hand in it.
Yeah, he was actually a Deadpool fan.
Yeah, he is. And he's the one that was like, we're doing it this way. But just like all of the references to the other movies. Like, we're taking you back to the Professor. McAvoy or Stewart? I keep getting those timelines mixed up. You know.
Now, what do you think about Josh Brolin being cast as Cable?
You know what? I think it's going to be interesting to see Thanos play Cable, because he's the guy that they've got cast playing Thanos
Brian.
too. So, but I mean, Josh Brolin, truth be told, I think he can pull it off. As much as Hex sucked as a movie, Josh Brolin is a chameleon when it comes to being an actor. I mean, if you ever want any definitive proof that Josh Brolin can play anything you put him to, watch him play George W. Bush in W.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, and that's the point. You can look at it and go, and you have to take a minute to look at it, but it's him.
I just remember him from the Goonies.
Yeah, and that's just it. You go from him being in the Goonies, and you really don't see him a lot. And then, like, he was in W, he was in the DC movie Hex, where he actually played Jonah Hex. And mind you, the storyline was bad for that, and it had what's her name from Megan Fox, so who can't act her way out of the paper bag. She was in it.
Oh, I remember.
But he looked amazing as Hex. And then
I never saw the movie.
Like everything that he does, I mean, like, you know, if you look at the shots of him as Thanos, you really can't tell it's Josh Brolin.
We know he's going to have to play the straight man to Deadpool.
So
it's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing, and I think he will do amazing at it.
He's
not who I saw at first.
Yeah.
Because I kind of thought Stephen Lang.
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman was campaigning for it. But have you ever seen? Do you remember Pocahontas 2.0? I mean Avatar. James Cameron's Avatar.
Yeah.
The one with the blue monkeys.
That was what made
and
everybody
stuff.
think he would be a good Cable.
Yeah, Stephen Lang.
Yeah.
That was Stephen Lang. I was thinking it would be him, and I would have hoped it would have been him.
But there was like an online petition for it.
Yeah.
The longest.
And then Ron Perlman was vying for it, and then out of the blue they announced Josh Brolin. I actually think Josh will do a good job with it.
He will. It's going to be neat to see. It's going to be neat to see.
I wonder if they're going to be able to get Ryan to bring the suit back. Because, you know, Ryan walked off set with the suit.
Yeah. Wasn't it the whole deal with the Christopher Nolan movies? Didn't Christian Bale ask him how much? No, Ben Affleck asked him how much for the suit. It was like $200,000 or something. And
yeah.
Then Ryan Reynolds didn't even ask. He just
walked off with it. Well, in Ryan's defense, he paid for half the movie.
That's true.
so
he can pretty much do what he wants.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he was like, you know, because that's what he was talking about too. He was talking about, he was like, this is why I'm better than Ben Affleck, because Ben Affleck asked him how much the suit was. I just put the damn thing on and walked off set.
Oh, anyway, that's it for the movie versus comics comparison. Like I said, anytime we do a video like this, it's like, hey, let's talk about movies versus comics, and then we end up talking about Deadpool. And
and that is a movies versus comics thing, and again,
but I love it though because we can just sit here and just chat about freaking comic books for 2 or 3 hours.
And amazingly enough, we are in the proper venue to do that, right here at Infinity Flux.
Infinity Flux, yes.
Surrounded by comic books.
Remember, drop by May 3rd. They're going to be opening up this comic book site again after they do some remodeling.
May 6th for Free Comic Book Day.
Yep, and to be quite honest, by the time this airs, that may have already happened. I don't know for sure yet.
But we were talking about it. See, we were already talking about time travel. So when you see this video, go back in time to May 6th and come to Infinity Flux to go to Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah. Matter of fact, it will, yeah. Because
and then go back in time to May 3rd to come to the re-grand opening of the comic book sign.
Yes, we'll have to just flip.
You're going to have to find Shadowcat to stick your fingers in your head to transport you back to your younger body, but have fun with that.
All right. Well, anyway, I'm Lonnie.
I'm Mark.
And we are Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you live from Infinity Flux. And this has been Comic Book
Malarkey. We're out.